now, I will never be bullied into silence.
I know that I'm in love with this girl, and I hope that she's in love with me.
Nope.
I didn't know much about him, and so the only thing that I had asked her when she said she wanted to set us up was, I had one question. I said, well, is he nice? Because if he wasn't kind, it didn't seem like it would make sense.
Meghan Markle shows alarming signs of being a narcissist, and Harry has been a target of her narcissistic abuse.
Given that I didn't know a lot about him, everything that I've learned about him, I learned through him, as opposed to having grown up around different news stories or tabloids or whatever else. Anything I learned about him and his family was what he would share with me.
On some level, Harry probably knew early on she was lying and being inauthentic, but her intense love bombing clouded his judgment. Love bombing is the first stage of narcissistic abuse. Love bombing is a narcissist's secret weapon, overwhelming a target with excessive fake affection in the early stages. Harry, already struggling to find lasting love, became an easy target.
When William married Kate, I think the relationship inevitably changed slightly, as sibling relationships always do when a third person comes into it.
For the last 6 or 7 years, Harry has been the third person alongside Kate and William.
William found a partner who could withstand paparazzi pressure, unlike Harry's exes, who valued peace and privacy over a prince.
I remember thinking, how can I ever find someone who is willing and capable to be able to withstand all the baggage that comes with being with me?
Fascination with royalty, does it live up to the fairy tale?
No, not at all. As any girl will ever tell you, it's that sort of, oh my God, he's a prince, but no. Every relationship that I had, within a matter of weeks or months, was splattered all over the newspapers, and that person's family harassed and their lives turned upside down. So, you know, I mean, after 1 or 2 girlfriends, the third or fourth girlfriend, you're gonna be like, hang on a second.
So when camera-obsessed Meghan came along, Harry was simply happy to find love at any cost. She was also performing the most convincing acting role of her life.
She's also a great, in that sense, an actress. She knew exactly how to play. She researched Harry very carefully and knew exactly what buttons to press. That he would like Africa, was interested in animals, was interested in philanthropy.
I'm sure when Harry first met Meghan, the first thing he thought was, what an incredibly sexy, attractive woman.
She's very tactile, she's very seductive, and she landed him on the first night, even on his own admission. He says, I realized on the first date, she was the one.
That was when it just hit me. I was like, okay, this girl, this woman is amazing, is everything that I've been looking for. I was beautifully surprised when I walked into that room and saw her, and there she was sitting there. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna really have to up my game.
Meghan then used Harry's childhood wounds to trauma bond him. She played the Diana card hard.
What do you think your mother would have thought of Meghan or said about Meghan?
Oh, they'd be thick as thieves. Without question. I think she would be over the moon, jumping up and down, you know, so excited for me. But then, as I said, would have probably been best friends with Meghan's.
Diana had been fiercely protective of her children and would never have approved of fame-hungry Meghan's relentless pursuit of Harry.
I called him that evening and I was like, look, I'm leaving the day after tomorrow. Do you want to grab dinner tomorrow night?
Harry's alarm bells should have gone off at a woman being so desperate to date him and ask him out, throwing her ovaries in a wrench like a maniac to be with him on the other side of the world.
I don't think you've had any idea what time zone you've been on for the last year and a half.
No.
Coming over here 4 days or a week and then going back and then straight into filming the next day, 4 a.m. wake-up calls on a Monday,
yes.
Straight into set, you know. And
right off the plane and straight to set,
yeah,
just coming
I'm just
back
trying
and
to
doing
just
it
trying
again.
to stay as close as possible, but you know, on 2 different time zones.
It was the start of their role reversal dynamic. She was hustling to get to him, while convincing him he needed to be saved. Like a Disney princess, he got swept up in a whirlwind romance.
Quite a whirlwind. Is that how it's felt to you?
Just watch how differently they react to the idea of a whirlwind romance. Meghan goes into panic denial mode, while Harry looks completely love-struck, the red flags flying right over his head.
I fell in love with Meghan so incredibly quickly was sort of confirmation to me that everything, all the stars were aligned, everything was just perfect.
A whirlwind romance is more often a sign of narcissistic love bombing, not the stars perfectly aligning like Harry believes.
And then taking that huge leap of only 2 dates, and then going effectively on holiday together in the middle of nowhere, and sharing a tent together and all that kind of stuff.
That just sounds like the beginning of a true crime story.
It was absolutely amazing to get to know her as quickly as I did.
There's just no way to properly get to know someone that quickly. William took a long time to get to know Kate before marrying her, to the point that she was being called Waity Katie.
If you find the right person and everything feels right, then it takes time, especially for myself and my brother. You ain't ever going to find someone who's going to jump into the position that it would hold. Simple as that.
Yet he did the opposite of what he used to say before, and naively believed that Meghan was willing to jump into that position of royal responsibility. It took him a mere 5 days to seal the deal with Meghan.
And we camped out with each other under the stars. She came and joined me for 5 days out there, which was absolutely fantastic. So then we were really by ourselves, which was crucial to me to make sure that we had a chance to get to know each other.
He thinks he got to know her in 5 days. He only got to know the performative version of herself that she presented to him. He thought she was happy to go on a low-key private trip to Africa, but what she prefers is to have a royal VIP welcome with photographers and fanfare. He thought she was a compliant, agreeable woman who would let him take charge. But no, she runs the show. He thought she was fun and spontaneous, but she's actually frigid and boring. He thought she was content with living a simple lifestyle in the bare necessities, but she's fussy and fancy. He thought she was down to earth enough to live near a swamp, but she wants a 16-bedroom mansion with a swimming pool. Meghan has never accompanied Harry on a hands-on, humble trip like this ever again after she got the ring on her finger. She only travels glamorously like a celebrity now, not a true humanitarian. Because the only human she cares about is herself. But she made Harry believe that she's like his mom, that she's like him, that they share similar values.
And it was really one of the first things we connected on. It was one of the first things we started talking about when we met, was just the different things that we wanted to do in the world and how passionate we were about seeing change. I think that was, that's what got date 2 in the books.
She knew exactly what to say to get date 2. Royal duties were also very important to Harry.
I still had to have some pretty, frank conversations with her to say, look, what you're letting yourself in for is, it's a big deal, and it's not easy for anybody.
Harry was missing the early red flags that Meghan did not enjoy royal responsibilities. He was vociferously vouching for her capability to take on the royal role.
I know the fact that she'll be really unbelievably good at the job part of it as well.
He was naive to have believed she was up for the royal duties.
It's obviously a huge relief to me because she'll be able to deal with everything else that comes with it. But no, we're a fantastic team. We know we are.
Yes, a trauma-bonded team.
And we hope to, over time, try and have as much impact for all the things that we care about as much as possible.
I am very excited about that, yeah.
Meghan says that, shutting her eyes and looking the opposite of excited, whilst Harry, again missing the warning signs, just takes her word for it.
It's obviously a huge relief to me because she'll be able to deal with everything else that comes with it. But
she will not deal with it. She'll throw tantrums, cry about it, whinge endlessly about it on camera, mock the monarchy, and wreak havoc on the royal family.
For me, it's an added member of the family. It's another team player as part of the bigger team. And for all of us, all we want to do is be able to carry out the right engagements, carry out our work.
She's the opposite of a team player that he assumes she is. She seems annoyed at him for even saying she's just another member. It's an insult to a grandiose narcissist. Harry thought he had found the perfect addition to the royal family because she love-bombed him with superficial care and charm, telling him exactly what he wanted to hear, and gave him lots and lots of attention. During the love-bombing phase, Meghan was gazing at Harry in an unnatural love-struck way, like he wasn't the spare to her. He was the king. She had Harry hooked by love-bombing him with attention and affection. Meghan has been criticized for constantly clutching Harry, but she has figured out Harry's love language, touch.
But when it comes to all that, I think I'm much better hands-on.
Harry is the most physically expressive royal, always touching himself and others.
I'm coming up.
Diana probably made Harry dependent on her physical affection, unlike with William.
She would just engulf you and squeeze you as tight as possible. And being as short as I was then, there was no escape. You were there, and you were there for as long as she wanted to hold you. There was no escape. You were there, and you were there for as long as she wanted to hold you. I miss that. I miss that feeling. I miss that.
Harry is still that anxious little boy searching for mommy's hand in a crowd, and Meghan became that mommy to him. He now needs her to hold his hand through adult life. Of course, there was more than hand-holding during the love-bombing phase. Harry made some weird confessions in his memoir, mentioning his Todger and mother's lips in the same sentence. A Freudian nightmare, as they say. Who knows what weird fantasies of his that Meghan was willing to play along with to ensure he got hitched to her. She apparently sprayed Diana's perfume on for her first date with him.
Favorite smell? My wife.
Harry found a woman who dresses, smells, and tries to act like his mom. Meghan became Harry's fever dream woman, love-bombing him with attention and affection. Love-struck Harry didn't see Meghan for what she really was.
I was such a fraud.
She's capable of anything.
Yeah, she's capable of anything. Capable of even turning a prince into a frog. After love-bombing comes devaluation. As soon as a narcissist's love-bombing proves effective, the devaluation phase begins with disapproving looks, belittling words, and undermining actions. The love-bombing phase puts the target on a pedestal, then devaluation knocks them down. This disorients and confuses the victim, making them work harder to return to the love-bombing phase. For Meghan, devaluing Harry was easy, even though he's a prince. Harry understood early on that his royal status affected his marriage prospects.
I think Harry is self-aware enough to realise that he is the supplicant. He is the one who is desperate for somebody to say, I will, because he knows how difficult it is moving into this family.
So when I got to meet Em, I was terrified of her being driven away by the media. The same media that had driven so many other people away from me.
At first, Meghan made it seem like he was more important than the media storm surrounding him.
When you take all those extra layers away and all of that noise, I think it makes it really easy to just enjoy being together and tune all the rest of that out.
But that soon changed, and she began criticizing and complaining about royal life.
It's been complicated. And also thank you for asking, because not many people have asked if I'm okay. But it's a very real thing to be going through behind the scenes.
And the answer is, would it be fair to say not really okay? As in, it's really been a struggle.
Yes.
During love-bombing, Meghan acknowledged the value of being royal and having a global platform to highlight causes she cared about.
The causes that have been very important to me, I can focus even more energy on, because very early out of the gate, I think you realize once you have access or a voice that people are willing to listen to, with that comes a lot of responsibility, which I take seriously.
But gradually, she devalued the royal privileges and opportunities, whining about how hard it was.
It's hard.
She made Harry feel like royal life, and even he himself, wasn't worth it. Harry was already suffering from low self-esteem, being the spare.
The family, as such, there's the spare and the heir. My brother being the heir and me being the spare. You have the heir, and then you have the spare. You have the distraction. And if you're not careful, you can really play into that.
As the heir, William got more attention, even at Harry's own christening. Harry was the last to be acknowledged and greeted in his family. Meghan makes him feel like that sad little spare over and over. As a spare, Harry was used to shaking hands after William. Now he was shaking hands after Meghan. She began walking into rooms like she was the heir and he was the spare trailing after her. She'd shake hands first as if she's royalty and he's nobody. She was calling the shots. He began being devalued early on in the relationship. He was losing confidence, stumbling and fumbling insecurely. Meghan's crass behavior was causing chaos and confusion. This kind of chaos and confusion just does not happen with William and Kate. William shakes hands first, and then Kate greets them. It's the same with most couples, royals or not. Meghan struggles with being a lady and fights Harry for dominance. She was asking to go ahead first, and he was made to feel like he was letting her. Then she began physically pushing and pulling him. Harry says William bullied him, and that's exactly what Meghan's doing. She was the new alpha to Harry's beta.
And already that Prince William has a will of his own.
Well, he certainly does. I mean, he's a typical 3-year-old, because I work with 3-year-olds, and very enthusiastic about things, pushes himself right into it. He's not at all shy. Where else, perhaps Harry is more quieter and just watches. He pushes himself right into it. He's not at all shy. Where else, perhaps Harry is more quieter and just watches.
Meghan regresses Harry to his toddler self. Just as Harry had to stand and watch William get first dibs on everything, he is now made to stand by and let Meghan take the lead. He's even standing in the exact same pose as his little boy self. Meghan got Harry used to feeling devalued. She behaved as if she were the queen. Harry was used to deferring to the queen. All the men in Harry's family deferred to a woman, the queen. She would be the one to shake hands first, and her husband just had to wait and shake hands after her. Now the queen is gone, but Meghan began shaking hands first like she was the queen. And only after her approval did Harry shake hands. Harry is the VIP at such events. He's the prince, the actual royalty. Meghan is his +1, yet her narcissism makes her believe she's the royalty. And Harry's low self-esteem makes him accept the devaluation. Harry looks on from the sidelines as Meghan takes center stage. That's how it was with the queen, except Harry was more at ease and chatty with the queen, unlike with Meghan, where he looks terrified to interrupt. Harry's emasculation is reminiscent of his great-granduncles.
Edward VIII and Wallace Simpson. It almost brought the monarchy to an end. It was catastrophic.
Wallace devalued Edward, and Meghan may have learned devaluation tactics from her. Edward's body language is similar to Harry's, looking down, adjusting, and unsure of himself. Harry was used to being led by a matriarchy, whether it was the queen, his mother, or his nanny. And now he's being handheld by his wife everywhere, even during formal events, which are work time. This devalues him as a grown man to be taken seriously. Meghan began devaluing Harry publicly, and he was pathetically letting her. Meghan became openly evil in her devaluation, instructing him rudely and then cackling at him with the audience.
But as my husband made mention of earlier, talking to some of you, it's also key that men are there supporting behind the scenes.
She passes off her domineering, devaluing behavior as feminism. It's not feminism, it's narcissism.
But as my husband made mention of earlier,
she can't even say Harry's name. She has to say my husband, reducing his status to just her husband.
My husband, who's president of it.
Meghan rudely interrupts a woman talking and launches into a monologue no one asked for.
Senator, do you mind if we just say a couple words?
Meghan devalues anyone and everyone in her way. Yet Harry is loving it. He's so pleased that his mommy is taking charge. He doesn't realize that it devalues him as a prince, a husband, and a man.
My husband, who's president of it.
Harry is the president here, yet she's speaking on his behalf.
In terms of gender equality.
Meghan calls it gender equality. It's actually devaluation of men under the guise of feminism.
Thank you for letting him crash the party.
She says, thank you for letting him crash the party. She's devaluing him and looks so happy about it. And Harry is smiling at his own devaluation. By this stage, he had already lost his usual confidence and spark. He needed her permission to meet other people. Meghan was behaving like she was the queen, and Harry her side help. Meghan devalued him even when he was in full official uniform. She still shakes hands first, and Harry, the captain, has to greet after her. Meghan devalued his uniform by shamelessly wearing all red. That man's expression says it all. A man like Harry, who lets himself get so devalued by his wife, is not respected by other men. Like most narc victims, the more Meghan devalues Harry, the more he probably clings on, desperate for her to return to a love-bombing state. Yet no matter how much fame, fortune, and fairy tale romance he has brought into Meghan's life, it's never enough for her.
What she needed from me was so much more than I was able to give.
He left everything to be with her. Isolating the victim is a key tactic of a narcissist.
No better way to dismantle a personality than to isolate it.
It's not just you that is affected, it's obviously anyone you're with, particularly a girlfriend, your girlfriend. How do they react? Do you feel protective towards them?
Hugely protective, and I would be very concerned if I wasn't protective.
This protectiveness is what Meghan manipulated to isolate Harry from his family, friends, country, and duties.
I've never seen the level of abuse and harassment that I witnessed over my wife. Other members of the family, they've experienced different forms of that, but to see it happen the way that it happened, I was naive going into it. I didn't realise that the British press would be so bigoted.
The British press did turn on Meghan, but not because of race. It was because of her narcissistic behavior and tensions with the royal family.
As family, do you ever have disagreements about things?
Oh, yes.
Healthy disagreement.
Okay, the last thing you disagreed on, how do you resolve it?
I can't remember, they come so thick and fast.
Is it resolved? We don't know.
Do they think the intent was to make her to leave or to break her spirit so she would be easier to control?
I think both.
It was Meghan who was breaking Harry's spirit so he'd be easier to control.
The move about getting away from the UK press, because the press is, is everywhere, or was a move because you weren't getting enough support from the firm?
It was both.
Both.
William didn't like the spotlight shifting away from him, claimed Harry.
When someone who's marrying in, who should be a supporting act, is then stealing the limelight or is doing the job better than the person who was born to do this, that upsets people. It shifts the balance.
I think so many people around the world watched you and your brother grow up and feel like you two were inseparable. And yet in reading the book, you have lived separate lives from the time your mom died.
And it's something that people forget about a lot of the time.
I mean, we never really get to spend any time together, as I'm sure most of you know. We've both got sort of separate jobs going on at the moment, and we never get to spend any time. It is all the fracture of the relationship between me and my brother has very much been pinned on my wife.
There was sibling rivalry with William and Harry, but there wouldn't have been such a rift between the brothers if not for Meghan.
In the Prince's new autobiography, Spare, he alleges that his brother physically attacked him back in 2019.
He describes how their relationship fell apart over Harry's relationship with Meghan.
His brother wanted to discuss the whole rolling catastrophe of their relationship, but he was piping hot and called Meghan difficult and abrasive.
And I was defending my wife, and he was coming for my wife. She wasn't there at the time, but through the things that he was saying, I was defending myself, and we moved from one room into the kitchen, and his frustrations were growing and growing and growing. He was shouting at me, I was shouting back at him. It wasn't nice, it wasn't pleasant at all. He wanted me to hit him back, but I chose not to.
The old Harry would have hit William and duked it out with him like brothers typically do.
A lot of, fights on the back seat with my brother, of which I would win.
Harry and William always sparred with each other, like most brothers typically do. But Meghan has made Harry quite wimpy and whiny.
A story that came out saying that part of the reason why Meghan and I were leaving was because William had bullied us out.
Harry claims he never agreed to the statement in his name which denied that story. It was, he said, a case of the palace lying.
And I rang Em and I told her, and she burst into floods of tears. Because within 4 hours they were happy to lie to protect my brother.
The media was also favoring Kate over Meghan. Maybe they were picking up on Meghan's rude behavior, like breaking the dress code at Prince Louis's christening.
And then there's the more trivial stuff about who made who cry at the dress fitting for the Flower Girls before the wedding. Was it Kate or was it Meghan?
A few days before the wedding, she was upset about something pertaining to, yes, the issue was correct about flower girl dresses, and it made me cry, and it really hurt my feelings. And I thought, in the context of everything else that was going on in those days leading to the wedding, that it didn't make sense to not be just doing what everyone else was doing, which was trying to be supportive, knowing what was going on with my dad and whatnot.
What Meghan is trying to say is, why wasn't Kate just following Meghan's orders?
It didn't make sense to not be just doing what everyone else was doing, which was trying to be supportive, knowing what was going on with my dad and whatnot.
Royal expert Kate Nicholl revealed you never hear about the Duchess of Cambridge falling out with anyone because she is very careful with how she treats others.
There was tension between Meghan and all the family members. Here's Charles saying bye to Harry and yeeting before Meghan turns. It wasn't difficult for Meghan to isolate Harry from his family. Just like with William, Harry had long-standing issues with Charles as well.
Pa liked telling stories. Who knows if I'm even your real father? He'd laugh and laugh, though it was a remarkably unfunny joke. Given the rumor circulating just then that my actual father was one of Mummy's former lovers.
Harry also had issues with his stepmother.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
The villain Prince Harry is referring to is Camilla, King Charles's wife and now Queen Consort. In his book Spare, he even labels her dangerous, accusing her of leaking stories to the tabloids.
With a family built on hierarchy, and with her on the way to being Queen Consort, there was going to be people or bodies left in the street because of that.
How was she dangerous?
Because of the need for her to rehabilitate her image.
That made her dangerous?
That made her dangerous because of the connections that she was forging within the British press. And there was open willingness on both sides to trade of information.
It was terrifying to have my brother scream and shout at me, and my father say things that just simply weren't true, and my grandmother, quietly sit there and sort of take it all in.
And while the Sussexes claim they were isolated, there are royal insiders who claim they were self-isolating long before COVID came along.
While my wife and I were in those chairs, gripping each other's hand, the moment the lights go down, Meghan starts crying.
Meghan made Harry feel guilty and ashamed about not leaving his family and country.
I'm feeling sorry for her, but I'm also really angry with myself that we're stuck in this situation. I was ashamed that it got this bad.
Meghan threatened to unalive herself.
I just didn't want to be alive anymore.
Meghan terrified Harry by making him believe that if they didn't leave, then his son would end up motherless like him.
I then had a son who I'd far rather be solely focused on, rather than every time I look in his eyes, wondering whether my wife is going to end up like my mother and I'm going to have to look after him myself. That was one of the biggest reasons to leave. I need to do this for my family. This is not a surprise to anybody. It's really sad that it's got to this point, but I've got to do something for my own mental health, for my wife's, and for Archie's as well, because I could see where this was headed.
So Harry left everything and everyone to move to America with Meghan. And Meghan began making one bombshell allegation after another, which further isolated Harry from his past life.
Concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What?
They didn't want him to be a prince or a princess, not knowing what the gender would be, which would be different from protocol, and that he wasn't going to receive security.
What?
It was easy for Meghan to get Harry away from the UK.
Most of my life, I've always felt worried, concerned, a little bit tense and uptight whenever I fly back into the UK, whenever I fly back into London. I don't want to sit around at Windsor because I just generally don't like England that much, and it's nice to be away from all the press and the papers and the general shite that they write. Why do I feel so uncomfortable? And of course, for me, London is a trigger, unfortunately, because of what happened to my mum and because of what I experienced and what I saw.
Harry has always felt more at home in Africa.
What would you want to do professionally?
I honestly, I don't know how well this would get out, but I'd probably live in Africa. I'd like to spend all my time out there.
In a humanitarian
aspect? Both. It would be a humanitarian aspect and as well as a sort of safari aspect. As a job, it'd probably be a safari guide, and then
it'd be really good for me because he wouldn't be around, you see, so I get the highest to myself.
At the same time, you know, splitting my time between a charity, you know, in Lesotho, probably Lesotho as well.
Instead of Africa, Harry ended up in America, and not just any U.S. city, but Meghan's Hollywood hometown.
Your impressions of the U.S.?
Horrible.
Oh my God. No.
You know that's the headline.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Harry calls U.S. horrible.
Now, Harry is isolated in the U.S. because Meghan complained about feeling isolated in the U.K.
Because right now, I could not feel lonelier.
She manipulated Harry, telling him that she sacrificed everything to be with him in the UK, so now he has to sacrifice everything to be with her in the US.
You know, she sacrificed everything that she ever knew, the freedom that she had, to join me in my world. And then, pretty soon after that, I ended up sacrificing everything that I know to join her in her world.
But what sacrifice did Meghan actually make? Marrying Harry made her a royal. He made her a real-life Disney princess, like most girls dream of becoming. The grand life she's living now is all because of Harry. Yet she guilt-tripped him and lured him away from his country, his family, and all of his friends. Meghan even isolated Harry from his childhood friends. It began when Meghan took offense at his friend group's sense of humor.
For Harry, and he just thought they'd all get on together, but in fact the opposite. She has a narrative, and she's a very domineering woman, and so she asserted herself. When they went to Tommy Inskip's wedding in Jamaica, which is a great friend of Harry's, who in the end was banned from the dinner after their wedding.
Yeah, well, I know at least 3 of the very good friends were apparently
banned, all by Meghan.
Harry was so friendly, free-spirited, and fun in London. Now he looks miserable and uncertain of himself in a new country. So what do narcissists get from love bombing, devaluing, and isolating their victims? Control. After Meghan love bombed, devalued, and isolated Harry, she had full control over him. Harry is used to being controlled by a matriarchal monarchy, and Meghan has now replaced the monarchy in his life. Just as the Queen shook people's hands first, Harry from the beginning let Meghan take precedence over him. But he still didn't let Meghan hold his hand in the Queen's presence. Over time, Meghan gained more control over Harry than the monarchy ever did. He meekly stood by her even as she broke family dress codes and protocols. Meghan was the one in control, even during royal duties. Even with his uniform on, Meghan went first. On rare occasions, Harry was spotted telling Meghan off, but soon even that stopped. Here's Charles signaling Harry and Meghan to stay put. Yet, Meghan moves forward. Her ego can't take that. The senior royals go before her, and Harry, instead of stopping her, just pathetically follows, breaking protocol. His allegiance has completely shifted to her over the royal family. They embarrassingly get escorted off by the staff. Once their first child was born, Meghan had ultimate power over Harry. It was now Meghan's monarchy. She controlled everything. She controlled Harry. It has reached the point where even if she mocks the monarchy, Harry just pathetically watches on.
Like that. Like I curtsied as though I was like... Pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty.
There's another woman more important to Harry than the monarchy. His mother, Diana, was loving but also controlling in her own way. She navigated the boys even as they were growing up. Meghan took on that role early on. She navigates Harry like a controlling mom. Harry looks to Meghan for approval before signing anything. Diana often steered Harry. Now Meghan steers him like he's a toddler. She began introducing him to people as if he weren't the most popular prince on the planet. She controls who he should talk to and who he shouldn't. Meghan had so much control over Harry that she made him leave the royal family, a decision he never would have made without her.
Or ever stepped back were it not for Meghan.
No, the answer to your question is no.
His childhood traumas make him easy to control. Harry feels bad that he couldn't protect his mother from the media. He has even physically lashed out at the media before.
You've been prepared for such goading?
He was full of booze. He was angry that they were there. I mean, utterly naive, because he knew that there were going to be photographers outside that club, and he just came out He couldn't control himself, and 20 years of being aware of these bloody photographers, he went out like a rocket.
Meghan controls that rocket now.
She's used to the cameras. She's very media savvy. She knows how this world works.
But early on in their relationship, Meghan made Harry admonish the media.
Harry, at that point, issued a statement, which is completely unprecedented.
That wasn't enough for Meghan. She makes him regret not doing more.
Have any regrets? Yeah, my biggest regret is not making more of a stance earlier on in my relationship with my wife and calling out the racism when I did.
She riled him up by blaming everything on the media.
According to Harry, that privacy battle had a very damaging effect on his wife.
I believe my wife suffered a miscarriage because of what the Mail did. I can say from what I saw, that miscarriage was created by what they were trying to do to her.
Harry is mind-controlled by Meghan preying on his traumas. Not only does Meghan fuel Harry's anger toward the media, keeping him in an us versus them mindset, she also controls him through fear. He is constantly paranoid about the media, and Meghan, like in this moment, is stoking that fear.
Do we have that pap on the scooter again?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, we do? Really? Same guy?
Same guy.
Oh my God, how fun.
Watched him go into this park and then...
He's gonna be with us?
Yes, sir. He was just ahead.
There's no paparazzi in sight, yet Harry looks petrified while Meghan remains unfazed. Meghan preys on his biggest fear, the fear of history repeating itself. She controls Harry through emotional blackmail. He's terrified of losing her like he lost his mother.
The thing that's terrified me the most is history repeating itself.
You really feared that your wife, Meghan...
Yes, I feared a lot that the end result, the fact that I lost my mum when I was 12 years old, could easily happen again to my wife. Meghan decided to share with me the thoughts and the practicalities of how she was going to end her life. The thing that stopped her from seeing it through was how unfair it would be on me. After everything that had happened to my mum, and to now be put in a position of losing another woman in my life, with a baby inside of her, our baby.
Meghan knows exactly how to get him where it hurts the most. It's peak narcissistic manipulation and mind games. Narcissists will do anything to maintain control over their victims, even if that means threatening to end their own lives. Fear is a way to control a person, and Meghan keeps Harry in a constant state of fear.
It was incredibly triggering to potentially lose another woman in my life. I became aware that I'd been living in a bubble within this family, within this institution, and I was sort of almost trapped in a thought process or a mindset.
He went from being trapped by the royal family to trapped by Meghan.
Lost my mother to this, and obviously I'm determined not to lose the mother to my children to the same thing.
Harry says he witnessed Diana crying many times.
The tears, and witnessing those tears.
Meghan regressed him to that helpless little boy by constantly crying around him.
Her crying in her pillow because she doesn't want to wake me up because I'm already carrying too much. That's heartbreaking. She cried, and she cried, and she cried.
How do you cry? I mean, do you have like... because you're an excellent crier.
Thank you very much.
Make yourself cry. Oh, I can do that so well.
Meghan, one tear, left eye, go. Meghan, one tear, left eye, go.
She has built a brand around crying about her privileged royal life.
When Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, announced that they were stepping back from royal duties in 2020, they said they hoped to maintain their titles and benefits such as security and monetize the Sussex royal brand.
You wanted freedom to make your own money. You wanted freedom to make deals with Netflix and Spotify.
Meghan controls their brand. She even controls what Harry says in interviews.
My grandmother had said, the moment you land, come up to...
We asked if we could go up to see her.
Come up to Sandringham. We'd love to have a chat, come for tea, and why don't you stay for dinner because it's going to be a long drive and you're going to be exhausted.
She even said stay the night.
Wonderful, I'd love that.
Yeah.
The moment we landed in the UK, I got a message from my private secretary, Fiona, at the time.
Private secretary is sort of like a CEO role.
Okay. Cutting on me now, I will never be bullied into silence.
No.
Nobody prepares you.
No, I mean, but even down, sorry, but even down to like...
She takes over every endeavor of his. She even marched ahead of the veterans at Harry's Invictus Games. She has no qualification to be there, yet she's taken over Harry's projects. He even needs her permission to present an award. He is completely under her control.
Meghan Markle, really awkward encounter after she tried to join her husband and his polo teammates on stage after a match last week. Now, it's just so cringeworthy.
She tries to take away Harry's spotlight and forces her way into the middle of everything. She doesn't even let Harry play and win polo in peace without hijacking the spotlight. She has to assert her control over him like an overbearing mother. This magazine cover pose of theirs says it all. Meghan is the mother in control, and Harry is the child clinging on.
But if you look at the cover there, you'll see that Harry is crouching down in a sort of diminutive position.
There's a hierarchy of the family.
Harry doesn't realize he went from one hierarchy to another. It went from the queen at the top to now Meghan on top, with Harry as one of the children. Meghan is more than likely a very controlling mother, and probably controls Harry's interactions with the kids as well. She controls his interactions with everyone. She has taken over Harry's social life, latching onto his remaining network and focusing mostly on celebrities. Meghan even makes Harry her social climbing puppet, such as getting him to ask the Disney CEO to hire her. Harry has now become the real-life version of the puppet Meghan had of him years before meeting him. Narcissistic abuse gives control to the abuser and causes destruction for the victim. Being with a narcissist leads to the destruction of mental and physical health, reputation, and relationships.
Outside, of course, being a wife to this one.
This is how Meghan perceives Harry. Meghan is destroying Harry's masculinity. For instance, when something falls on the floor, Meghan, in a tight dress and heels, bends to pick it up immediately, whilst Harry is totally unreactive. He doesn't even attempt to move or help Meghan. Harry has always been naturally super quick and agile. He used to always be very active and alert. Yet his natural instincts are now destroyed. Look how oblivious he is to this approaching stranger on Meghan's side. That guy could have been a threat to Meghan's safety, yet Harry doesn't even notice the approaching man. Harry had better spatial awareness even as a kid. Unlike William, Harry always seemed to be on high alert when out and about with his mum, as if ready to spring into action if he sensed his mum was in danger. As an adult, Harry was an army man, where the ability to sense and dismantle danger is key. Yet now, Harry's mind has been dismantled. Harry has developed a toxic feminine mindset, whinging and gossiping, weak and wimpy, manipulative and moany, always playing the victim.
Do you think your relationship has changed with the UK? Do you feel let down by your country?
That's a big question. At this point, I'm feeling very let down.
Harry takes no accountability for how he has let down his country.
Harry's revelations haven't won many fans here in Britain.
You've got Harry and Meghan, who are making tens of millions of pounds washing their dirty laundry.
I don't think you use the word diss your family in a public way as he has done.
And yet Prince Harry insists he's hoping for reconciliation.
His reputation is destroyed. He went from being the most popular royal to one of the least popular. He is now increasingly perceived as a hypocritical and untrustworthy grifter.
Some people will say, you have railed against invasions of your privacy all your life. But the accusation will be, here are you invading the privacy of your most nearest and dearest without permission. That'll be the accusation.
That would be the accusation.
The lack of trust is going to be the issue.
How do you feel about being part of Food Family?
Meghan is such an agent of destruction. She has destroyed their brand as well, and they have become a global laughingstock.
We want privacy! We want privacy!
With Meghan, Harry's entire personality has changed.
Everybody in that photograph is smiling.
Because of her.
Yeah.
I mean, she had an energy. Look at her face in every photograph. There's a positive, wonderful glow. Also, she had this incredible ability, which he kind of inherited, and I told him that, and he said, thanks very much, to make people feel at ease and make them feel that everything's going to be all right.
He's just not that same guy anymore. Harry has become quite grumpy and bratty and has been behaving like a narcissist himself. Living with a narcissist for too long can cause empathy erosion. Harry doesn't seem to be as compassionate as he used to be.
He came home to his father, aged 18, and said, I want to help these people. I want to start a charity. And his father said, you're far too young. You need to get into the army first, and we'll talk about it when you've done your army service. And he said, no, I want to do it now. And he was utterly determined, and he did. And he started Centre Barley.
This is a topic that has drifted from the headlines, but remains an urgent challenge.
Yet he has now abandoned the cause he was once so passionate about.
Last week, Prince Harry stepped down from Centre Barley. The charity's chair says the news was unexpected and a shock.
This unleashing of the Sussex machine on me and the 540 employees at Centre Barley.
Harry simply stands by and lets Meghan destroy everything and everyone in his life.
My sort of mantra now every day is, and it's a dangerous one because I need to make sure that I don't have burnout, but is trying to make the world a better place for my kids. Otherwise, what's the point in bringing kids into this world, right? It's a responsibility that I feel as a parent, and you probably feel as a parent as well. And
he is so protective of his kids, yet it's beyond his understanding that their own mother is so destructive for them. Harry perhaps has some inkling by now that something's off about Meghan. He knows what genuine warmth feels like.
It was that love that even if she was on the other side of a room, that you, as a son, you could feel it.
He won't be able to feel that sort of love from empty Meghan. However, he has a habit of choosing delusion over reality.
I mean, you really believe that maybe she had just decided to disappear for a time?
For a time, and then that she would call us and we would go and join her. Yeah.
How long did you believe that?
Years. Many, many years.
Apparently, I'm trapped in the cult of psychotherapy.
How is it in the cult? Is it nice?
It's warm, it's cozy.
Good. Now, yeah, there you go.
Harry won't accept that being with Meghan is very destructive for him. She has far too much power over him now, and he probably can't function without her micromanaging his life. Some victims manage to escape their narcissists.
Meghan is in California right now, and you're here, and there's articles left and right about, why are you doing independent events? Why aren't you doing them together?
There are constant rumors of Harry and Meghan being on the verge of divorce.
We've apparently divorced maybe 10, 12 times as well. So everyone's just like, what? So yeah, it's hard to keep up with, but that's why you just sort of ignore it.
Harry is a product of divorce and doesn't want to repeat his parents' pattern. But his mother was better off free from a narcissistic, abusive marriage. Harry isn't clued in on the pathology of narcissism and how dangerous it can be to get entangled with a narcissist, especially when children are involved. He is determined not to traumatize his kids. Little does he realize that having a narcissist mother is the most traumatizing thing for a child.
The main goal for me at the moment is being the best husband and the best dad that I can be.
He wants to be a better father, but he's completely oblivious to how their mother's narcissism affects his children. Harry is like a kid himself, though. Just as he needed Meghan to rescue him from the royals, he'll need someone else to rescue him from Meghan. He will not be able to subvert her on his own. She has too much power over him now. It's as if she's his handler, holding him in a conservatorship like the one Britney Spears was in. If Harry does ever leave Meghan, the world will celebrate it the way they celebrated Britney leaving her narc spouse.
Ladies and gentlemen, Britney Spears is leaving K-Fed!
If Harry does attempt to escape, Meghan will likely try to hoover him back. Hoovering is a narcissistic tactic to regain trust, rebuild emotional bonds, and reignite romance. It's easier than ever for Meghan to hoover him now that they have kids. If there was ever a time for Harry to escape easily, it was during the early stages of their relationship, when he was not yet isolated and under Meghan's control. After his friends warned him about her, he did seem to be quite done with Meghan. She was photographed furiously trying to hoover him, her narc rage on full public display. But something changed between them after this moment. Harry was never the same again after this hoovering. So how did Meghan turn him into a lovesick puppy after he seemed on the verge of breaking up with her? She unlocked his childhood trauma. She convinced him that his anger towards her was actually anger from his childhood.
Do you need to see someone? It was in reaction to an argument that we had. And in that argument, not knowing about it, I reverted back to 12-year-old Harry.
Even if he did revert to age 12, he'd still be justified in being annoyed at Meghan. Yet whenever he gets angry at her, she tells him to get therapy.
Only after meeting Meg did you start the process of trying to figure it out. You hadn't tried it before, no?
And I quickly established that if this relationship was going to work, that I was going to have to deal with my past, because there was anger there. And it wasn't anger at her, it was just anger. And she recognized it, she saw it.
She gaslights him into believing that if he ever has issues with her, it's actually issues stemming from his childhood, not her narcissistic behavior. Apart from psychological tactics, Meghan also probably uses physical tactics to hoover Harry. Sometimes she'll just cling to him in a scary way. It's like he realizes he's locked in for life and has accepted his miserable fate with the Markle claw. Since the divorce rumors have gained momentum, Meghan has begun pretending to be the ultimate trad wife. She's behaving a lot softer and sweeter. She is publicly gushing about Harry nowadays, trying to convince the world that they are still so in love and living the perfect Hallmark movie life.
I'm very lucky. I am married to the funniest, sweetest, most charming. I mean, he's all the things that you're describing. He's an amazing father. We have this connection, I think, because we're so committed to treating each other the same way you did before you had a ring on it, before it was locked down, when you're just courting each other and you can see all the good and joy in that butterfly period. And that's, I think, what keeps things really alive. It's felt amazing. Honestly, it's felt just so amazing and fun.
Meghan knows that the best way to hoover Harry is to play on his hopes of having a united family, like the one he never had growing up. Narcissists tend to eventually discard their victims. Based on past behavior patterns, it appears that the only way Harry will ever be free of Meghan's narc abuse is if she discards him. Narcissists callously discard people when they feel they have no more use for them, and Meghan is known to be a serial discarder. She has ruthlessly discarded her own father, nearly every family member and relative, her non-famous friends, many famous friends, her ex-husband, ex-boyfriend, and even her dog. Meghan is extremely cutthroat with her discarding. Even her father, suffering a stroke, couldn't melt her heart enough to contact him. Meghan made Harry discard everyone in his life as well. There may come a time when it will be Harry's turn to be discarded by her. Right now, she's trying to make as much money as she can by being married to a royal. She loves throwing around her Duchess title. But their Sussex brand is not as profitable when they're not trashing the royal family. They've already had a professional separation, but a personal separation may not be as easy for Meghan as it has been for her to separate from everyone else. The world knows her as Harry's wife now, the woman who separated the royal family. She's already hated by many people, and without Harry, she'll be even more hated. She's also a mother of 2 kids, and if she leaves the father of her children, it could ruin her reputation even more. She might still try to discard him, but likely only once she finds someone richer or more famous than Harry. Still, many hold out hope that Harry will have a South Park ending, where he comes to his senses and walks out on Meghan.
We can be the people we talked about being, with no more worries about how we look or the image we project to people.
Yeah, come on, honey. We don't need this place.